Bonza Williamson. Here we
I know today, no matter what is happening, things will all go my way. I see heaven and I don't have to wait for you to recognize that love resides in this place. Why not listen ahead? Why you making that face? You be tripping so you think about something different. Listen ahead. Why you making that face? Just relax a bit, ain't no accidents. It's just all for the
Heaven high, everybody. Welcome. Opening music by J. Clay. Yay, the J. Clay.
I love it.
I love it too. Heaven high, everybody. I'm just going to jump right in because I'm excited to have you here today. I am speaking to David A. Williamson, my North Carolina friend, who's from which part of North Carolina?
Yanceyville, small country town close to Greensboro. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I never heard of Yanceyville. Y'all know I'm from Fayetteville. And he had a near-death experience. Who would know these things were happening in North Carolina? And let me tell you, David, at the beginning, one of the reasons that I started this podcast is because I have always enjoyed hearing about near-death experiences, always. But when I asked Black people to tell me if they had near-death experiences, theirs would be stuff like, I went into the store and I almost got shot. You know, it would be that, or I almost got hit by a car. And I was like, no. So I was like, do Black people have near-death experiences? And I found that they do, but I'm excited to speak to a Black man. Yes. Yay. So I have learned, heaven high, Jonathan David. I have learned, David A. Williamson, that you had more than one near-death experience. So do you remember anything before the first one?
Yeah, before the first one. The first one happened, I was 6 years old. And I would say I remember a lot of my childhood, even prior to that, even. I was a kid. I loved nature, and I would always be out in the woods digging holes, trying to find treasures, and thinking like I was like an archaeologist or something. Because I always thought that I would find dinosaur bones and fossils and stuff. But I just enjoyed nature. I would play with bugs. I knew my cousin used to make fun of me more. Like even as we got older, she would imitate my voice as a kid, and she's like, "Well, this plant right here, this is edible. You can actually eat this." Like she was just always like this. He's always trying to be like a nature guy, teaching you what to eat and what not to eat. But I was just really into nature. Yeah.
So what happened? What was the near-death experience back then?
I went to a summer camp at age 6, and kids were in the lake, swimming, and I just ran. I didn't know how to swim, so I saw them they had life jackets on, so I put one on. I don't recall seeing any like counselors from the camp really around, so I just kind of put the life jacket on and ran and just jumped into the water. And when I hit the water, the life jacket came off, and I remember going down and looking up and seeing the life jacket at the top of the water, and I'm just going down. So I went down for a while, and then I remember thinking like I'm not going to be able to hold my breath for much longer, and I blacked out, and then I heard a voice that said, "If you could touch the bottom, you can push yourself back up," and it was clear, and it sounded almost like my adult voice now. And it pretty much sounds like it was just a deeper voice, male, like kind of like my voice. And I responded to the voice. I said, "It doesn't seem like I'm going to touch the bottom. I'm just going down." And as soon as I said that, I started floating back up. And as I'm floating back up, I must have became conscious again, because then I started seeing light coming from the top of the water. And then I saw a splash in the water, and I saw the ripples radiating from that splash, rings. And it was beautiful to me. And I watched that for a while before I even reached up to grab the pole that they had splashed in the water to pull me out. And my brother was there because when they pulled me out, I remember just sitting at the edge of the dock, and I sighed, and I maybe coughed twice. I coughed twice, and then I sighed. It was like I just went through something, and then but I looked behind me and everybody was panicking and screaming and hollering, and but for me it wasn't a traumatic experience because the voice was calm, and I
Yeah.
went down, blacked out, and just kind of came back up. And but for everybody else, they thought I was dead. Like I asked my brother a couple years ago, how long was I under the water? I asked him, was I there? Or did it even happen? Because for me, because I didn't integrate it as a traumatic experience, it was kind of like just a memory of just playing in the water, and then we moved from the deep side to the shallow side because that's what ultimately happened. And
Yeah.
but I asked him, did it happen? And he said, yeah. He said, I was there right on the dock. And he said, and I asked him how long was I under the water, and he said no less than 3 or 4 minutes. He said everybody was panicking. He said people screaming, passing out. They thought you were dead. He said, and he said people looking at me. He said I was 8. He's like I don't know. I can't do anything. Like there's nothing you
Right.
can do. So he remembered.
Well,
Yeah.
guess what? It almost made me cry. And guess which part made me tear up?
What's that?
Did you hear what you said? If you can touch the bottom, you can push yourself back up.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm hearing like even rock bottom.
Yeah.
If I can go all the way down, I can push myself
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's probably the first time that hit like that, how you just, described it. And even considering, what, some of the things I'm going through now, like that is very timely to hear
Yes.
that finally in that way, you know.
And and it's just look, Kendall said the same thing. When you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up.
Yeah.
Yes. And then relax. Like one thing we do is we panic. And
Mhm.
when we panic, we drown,
Yeah.
whether we're in the water or not. You can't think straight. You can't hear the messages from your angels. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But when you relax,
The whole
oh,
drowning, the drowning was so calm. Like I even when before I passed out, like when I was going down, I was just calm. And I remember like literally thinking like I'm not gonna be able to hold my breath for much longer. It was nothing dramatic about any of it. And then the voice. So,
and
but I
and
changed after that. Like that was a
oh,
that was a I went from being I what I would I think I was happier before that experience. And
little wide eyed.
yeah, yeah.
And so after that, what happened? That's when you like. Why do you think? Do you think it's the age, or do you think? Why do you think?
Well, I don't think I was old enough and had enough experience to really be able to understand what happened to me. I didn't have any language to describe what happened to me. So I didn't talk about it, but I did talk about the after effects because they were overwhelming. Like it was like I was in Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the nuclear holocaust, and I was having these visions of seeing the buildings, on fire, crumbling, people screaming, people running towards me. And I remember my mother would tell me that when I was having those visions, my body would be stiff, and I would just be repeating over and over. I would be repeating over and over, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." I don't. And she said there was nothing that she could do to bring me out of that until I just came out of it. It'd be like a couple minutes of just being stiff and in that state. And I was also seeing visions of the future as a kid. Like really being into nature. I hated to see dead animals on the side of the road. I hated seeing roadkill, and it bothered me that a lot of people I would be riding with really didn't see it. They didn't care so much, and I either thought that we should be using the animals, flesh or something. It shouldn't just be wasted
Just
sitting
be
there.
wasted. Yeah.
Yeah, it just bothered me to see it all the time as a kid, and but I was having visions after the drowning of humans being dead on both sides of the road, and it was in the future, and I knew it, and nobody cared. Like people would be listening to the radios, talking about the weather and talking, having conversations in the car, and I would be either there were different ways that I experienced that vision, but sometimes I would be in the car, sometimes I would almost like I would be kind of listening in the window. Sometimes I would be just kind of like a almost like a camera angle, just kind of looking at everybody in the car,
Hmm.
and no one cared about it. It was you like we had been desensitized to seeing death like that. And so at age 6, seeing having these memories of being in Hiroshima and Nagasaki and seeing the future, and it was nothing but death. And and then I was also had, before we left North Carolina, part of my childhood experience was seeing the KKK marching up and down the street and hearing a whole lot of racially polarizing, stories and opinions from everybody, from racists, from my family, from everybody. Like hating each other seemed to be a pretty normal part, you know, of the
Yeah.
narrative. So it wasn't really difficult for me to hop right into that, to the race games. But I checked out after, seeing all of that stuff, feeling all of the stuff that I was feeling, and not really wanting to participate in this because I didn't trust that adults wouldn't use nuclear weapons again. And so I just didn't want to be around to see the death that I was seeing in my visions as a kid, even. And
Mm.
so I checked out. I didn't, and then the race stuff made me just super angry. When I went to college, I learned, even before college, I was just learning about the history of race, racial history of this country, the history of imperialism all over the planet, how a lot of these nations have been, just economically, decimated just by, predatory policy. And it's still to this day is a lot of the same policy. So this
Mhm.
stuff just used to make me so angry, and all the bias that I had, um, it got confirmed. I mean, I was looking to basically confirm the things that I believed about white people. They were evil. And then
Mm.
when I looked at history, excuse me, I saw so many things that just, in my opinion, confirmed it. And so I just carried this anger, just festered. I didn't, in that kind of anger, I don't really think you think about solutions. Like there were things that I probably imagined that I would love to see, but I don't think I was thinking as clearly as I could have been thinking had that anger not been, so overwhelming, inside of me. Mm.
Did it seem like after your near death experience, like, another soul popped in with you or something?
I mean, I've had people. I had someone suggest that I was a walk-in now, but I would
Well,
say,
the only reason I say no to that is because you remember before.
yeah, I remember everything. I mean, I remember. I don't think that I'm a walk-in. I don't think that's the case. I understand that concept, but I do think that brain changes occur when we have these momentary, these these periods where we don't have oxygen to our brain. I mean, if I was under the water 3 or 4 minutes at age 6, it's a possibility that there was some definite brain damage, or even if it was a little small amount, there could have been some brain damage. And that's kind of how I look at it. How I changed again. There was more damage, perhaps even, because it seems like
Yes.
my amygdala in the second near death experience was down regulated, whereas in the first near death experience, I lived a life of anger, fear, anxiety that made my amygdala overactive. The second near death experience, I don't even have the capacity to think in the ways that I used to think. Like,
Ooh.
I don't like if
Please, please tell me about your second near death experience.
yeah, just spending my life angry. I just fell apart over time. I had digestive issues. Eventually lost my gallbladder. I never made the connection between my disposition and thinking and my body's health. I didn't, and so I kept after the gallbladder.
When you say spending my life angry, were you like scowling all the time? Were you picking fights with people?
Mm-mm.
Were you one of those black men that people would say he's an angry black man, just
Yeah,
complaining about,
yeah.
did you fight or did you just fuss? Like,
I've mainly fussed. I mainly fussed. I didn't even think that organizations that would be considered activistic were radical enough for me to even want to do. I didn't marching and begging and praying and pleading, and I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to take people out. Like I wanted to. I wanted. Yeah, I didn't. I like for me it was like it was too much talking. Like we're getting killed in the street for nothing. This is my rhetoric then. And we just want to march and and talk, and it's like no, like it's time for something else. And So I didn't really think these organizations were effective. It was just more the same, rhetoric to me. So I would participate, but mainly from kind of a, cynical, not consistent, basis. But I've worked with a lot of people that that I respect and I've always respected, but it's just I don't see the work. I don't see the results. I see the work. I see the stuff that people are doing. I see how they organize people to do amazing things, feeding community, a lot of stuff, amazing stuff. But it's like it just becomes kind of like an annual event that people look to, but there's no um, structures being built. There's no communities really changing and for the better, and no ownership changing. We have more outside interests coming into our communities, buying up everything, even as we are having these activistic organizations talking about it. Like it's so we talking about gentrification. We've been talking about gentrification since I was a young guy, but it hasn't stopped. It's increased.
So
So we
wait a
don't.
minute, is this David now or David before
This is
your
yeah.
last?
This was David before the events, but it's still, these are still observations that hold true.
Okay.
So for me, it's like, but so for me now, how I look at these things is that if there are problems that we need to fix in our community, we don't have to be angry to fix them. We probably won't fix them while we're angry. We just need to fix them. And if we and I could get the frustration that comes from waiting from somebody to fix something and or assuming that somebody feels responsible for fixing something for you and they've never showed you that that level of responsibility towards your community or you. So
Yes,
if you're sitting and waiting, then you're going to be frustrated and pointing fingers. But if you have problems that affect you and people around you, why not fix them, instead of
why
and
not?
do the work cheerfully. Do the work cheerfully. Because for me, that's what we're supposed to do, is to help make each other's lives easier. you know
Yes.
so
Tell me, I got a question for you after you tell me. So what happened with your second near death experience?
Okay, just to allowing myself to kind of, like I said, fall apart, hypertension. One in 2017, February 1st, I had a my heart valve rip.
February 1st, 2017.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, my mother died February 2nd, 2016. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So my valve rip, and I feel it, but it feels like shoulder pain and back pain. I never felt anything in my heart, but I felt the pain, and it was extreme. And I looked at one of my buddies because we were just talking, sitting in the garage, and I looked at him and I was like, "Man, this back pain just shifted gears," And my eyes were kind of big because I was just like I was really hurting. And but I was I was an athlete, played football and stuff, so pain for me was something that you could I could just integrate it
Yes.
and keep moving. And so I just kind of sat with it for a moment, and then I like just continued talking, and then 7 days later, February 7th, is when I had a heart attack, and I was leaving work,
So
and
you
I
were
just
in that pain for 7 days.
yeah,
Wow.
I was literally walking around holding my shoulder up, like trying to hold it up because it felt like it was falling off.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Go to the doctor, people. If you have that
yeah,
kind of pain, go to the doctor.
yeah, I
We-
definitely tell people that now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. We have a high tolerance, Black people, oftentimes, but we need to go to the doctor.
yeah.
So, what happened? You finally went seven
So
days
yeah,
later.
I went. Well, I'm leaving work and I feel a sting in my heart, and that's when I was like, "Oh, it's something." That's when it actually finally localized in my heart, and I feel the sting, and then I kind of lose my breath. But I'm leaving work, and I'm like, should I call 911 now? Should I go home? So I get in my car and I drive home, and as I'm going home, I'm breathing hard, trying to keep my breath. I'm feeling a little sting here and there, but it's not so extreme. So I get home and I'm like, maybe if I eat a snack, I'll feel better. So I make a sandwich, and I eat the sandwich, and I'm sitting still, listening to my heart and just feeling my body, and I realize it's not getting better; it's getting worse. So my son's mother luckily worked from home at the time, and I just yelled up, I need to go to the emergency room. Something's not right. I think I'm having a heart attack. And so we went. But on the way, it's really getting bad. Like I'm like having to really, to keep my breath or to keep from feeling like I'm just gonna pass out. Like it's just getting lightheaded and just having to breathe deep to just stay present. But we get there and there's a guy, trying to get me to fill out some paperwork. And I feel like I'm about to die. And so I cussed him out like really good like, at the entrance of the emergency room. But I apologized to him afterwards because I just felt the need to go back and apologize to him after the experience. But as I'm cussing him out, the doors open and the gurney is pushed out. And they get me on the gurney. So I guess he had already got the gurney on the way and was then trying to get me to fill the stuff out. But I thought I was just gonna be dead sitting there with somebody asking me about insurance and filling out paperwork. So I was just
Yeah.
losing it. And but once I got on the gurney, I would say 20 seconds, I was gone, because they pushed me forward maybe 10, 15 feet, and there was a curve, a turn, a sharp turn to go to the area where they would be defibrillating me and working on me at.
Yeah.
And when they turned, I saw this double door, and then I started blacking out. And I remember rolling over to my left side, the way I sleep on my left side, and I put my hand up, like I was about to go to sleep. And the last thought that I had was, "This is gonna be some beautiful sleep, some amazing sleep." And
Wow.
I was gone. I was gone before we got to those doors. And I make a point to say that because when I was resuscitated, I knew where everything was in that room. So I learned the setup of that room after I died
By looking,
by
watching,
looking
and working
down
your body.
by looking down when I left out of my body. Because like almost immediately once I got into that area and they stopped me, I was coming out of my body. But as I was dying, it was like systems were not working properly. It was like a machine shutting down. I remember the hearing started getting weird, like underwater. It sounded like underwater, really muffled. Um, I wasn't seeing people because I had closed my eyes to go to sleep, but I was seeing dots of light, like almost like a nighttime sky or pixels on a TV screen or something, where the people were. So and then when I got into the room and I came out of my body, the people were where those pixels were, and the hearing was still kind of underwater. The vision was blurry initially. Um, and the more I was in that state, things cleared up. The hearing, I was able to feel people's thoughts, feel what they were feeling, hear their thoughts. There was a woman in the back of the room, in the left side of the room in the back, holding her face with both of her hands like this. And she was really sad that I was, yeah, just like that. She was really sad that I was dying. I was trying to keep from hitting the in the mic,
Yeah.
but she was sad that I was dying. So, and I wanted to talk to her. Like I was really trying to talk to her, and she couldn't see me or hear me. And that was frustrating because I wanted her to know that what I was experiencing was beautiful and that she shouldn't be upset about it because what I was experiencing when I came out of my body was incredible for me. I wasn't in pain anymore, which is a normal part of my life. I didn't have confusion. There was no anger. There was no stories. It was just peace. And I felt light, like, because in that time, my
Mm.
blood pressure was so high that my body always felt like there was hands inside of my rib cage pushing out. It just felt I always felt so much tension inside of me. Because of the and
Yeah.
I didn't feel any of that anymore. It was just the best I had ever felt in my life. It felt like waking up for the first time, and
Mhm.
but I wanted to tell her that, and she couldn't see me or hear me. And the guy that was holding the defibrillator pads, he was putting too much pressure on himself. Like he was blaming himself. Like if I don't live, it's his fault. And I didn't think that. I honestly thought that I thought that I thought that if I kept going and never came back, that would most likely be me not coming back to life. So, and that's mostly what I wanted to do, but I was so concerned about him, the guy holding the defibrillator pads and the lady holding her face, that I
Mm.
kept checking back into the emergency room. So, but initially, while I was watching them, some of the phrases that I heard initially when I came out, like one of the first things that I remember thinking, it was like the last human thought, like David thought. It was like, so this is how it happens, because I spent a lot of time or so this is how it happens, not it. Like not. It was kind of confirming for me because I had spent a lot of time reading a lot of spiritual books and texts from very young age, up to to the point where I died. So a lot of what was happening to me was consistent with some of what the text was saying. So I wasn't uncomfortable. It was almost like immediately I was like, ah, this is how it happens. And then I
Mm.
heard a phrase, um, uh, he's dead. You used to live there.
He's
Uh,
dead. You used to live there.
yeah.
Who
It
do you know where you heard that from?
sounded like maybe my voice or an older version of my voice. It's just a
Okay,
deeper,
okay.
older man voice. And it's like a conversation with myself almost.
Hmm.
And then it said, and then I heard his body, his mind, and his ego was dead. And then the same way that I responded when I was a kid, when he said that if you touch the bottom, you can push yourself back up. I responded, well, what remains? What am I now? Because I'm still, witnessing stuff and having ideation, whether you call it thinking or not. It ain't. Maybe it's not thinking, but it's
Right,
awareness. It's awareness
right.
going. Stuff happening, and I responded, so what am I? And all at once it was like a symphony of words, and they all came at the same time, and it was like love, light, consciousness, awareness, spirit, soul,
Mhm.
all at the same time.
Wow,
And I
wow.
understood all of this, like I understood all of that. And and then another phrase that I heard was, you killed yourself with your personality. And I
Ah,
knew it. I knew what that meant because I was angry and upset, depressed, miserable my entire life. Like 34 years straight, from age 6, 7 to age 40. I was pretty much depressed. But people in my life say that they didn't see it, but I would say some people did, and some people did. Like, I guess if I cared about you, if I liked you and I hung around you, you probably wouldn't see it the way that people I didn't like, or I don't know,
right.
they wouldn't have gotten the anger part. But I wasn't happy. I remember even in high school being given a trial antidepressant because they I wasn't interested in it was like some new drug that they were giving kids, I guess, at the time. I wasn't interested in anything. Like, I didn't want to go to the prom. I didn't want My parents asked me, did I want my class ring? I didn't care. I asked them where theirs was at, and what did they know where theirs was. And neither I think my father might have known where his was because he gave it to my mother, but she didn't know where hers was. And I'm like, y'all don't even know where y'all is at. Like, why do I need to
Mhm.
get y'all
What's
to
the
pay?
purpose?
Yeah, I don't want y'all to pay all that money for a ring that I'm gonna
Mhm.
lose when I'm, y'all age. So they thought all of that was just depression, but I just never really was interested in this place, at all from 6, 7, 8 forward because of all I saw was death coming, and
Yeah,
even in the past, the visions I had from the past was just death. So I didn't really want to participate, and so I was always considered like a genius or exceptionally gifted, but I never wanted to participate in this. I just wanted to learn, you know. But back to the NDE. When I came out of by my body after I was watching those two people that were kind of hurting, for me as I'm
yes.
dying. Yeah, I looked up just casually, and from that moment on, I was gone. I was out. I was in what people call the void.
So once you took your focus off of your body and what was going on in that room, you looked up and you were gone.
Gone. Yeah, it wasn't like tunnels because I've heard people, they speak about the consistency on some of the consistency between a lot of the experiences, and it is true. A lot of people do have some, and I did have a lot of the same experiences as some other people, but I didn't have tunnels. It was the traveling that I did was like I looked at something, I said and I was there.
Oh,
And I look
okay.
and I would travel that way. Like was this action word for me that meant zip across the space.
Ah,
And
so
yeah.
where'd you go? What'd you see?
When I first came out, I was in this void. When I first left the emergency room, I was in the void. This blackness that was so dense that it actually feels tangible, like it felt like velvet, against you as you move through it. And but it feels like love. Like it felt for me, because I've heard people talk about the void almost like it was the darkness was scary to them, you know. But for me, it felt no different than the light. Like it felt like love. It felt like home. Um, I would see things in my periphery, but when I put my attention on it, it would disappear like smoke. So even in that space, I came to the conclusion that nothing is here, but everything is here. You know, because
Nothing is here, but everything is here.
yeah,
Okay.
and it felt like everything, like everybody. It felt like a part of everybody, every idea, every possibility is there. And when I came back, sometimes that seemed to be how I was able to understand people. It was because met them before in the void. You know, is what it seemed like. You know,
Mm.
um, because I would be able to say stuff to people. Initially, it was really strong. And then I wouldn't know where it was coming from. You know, like, maybe it's because I'm talking. They are talking to themselves, and that place that I've been somehow is some kind of triangulation or something, and they are just hearing, and I'm just repeating what they're saying back to themselves. That's kind of what it felt like, because it was topics that I didn't know anything about
Like,
sometimes.
can you give me an example? I'm fascinated. Like,
Like, well, people, I mean, there were people asking me questions about Buddhist stuff, and I'm not a Buddhist. I wasn't raised anywhere there, but I was able to give feedback on the questions. I don't remember the specifics on that one, but it was like a very detailed question, like about something that it was a Buddhist idea, and I just rambled off the answer, and uh, and I didn't know that answer. I didn't know that answer from my
mm,
life, you know. So.
mm. But
And
it
there's a
makes
lot of things like that that happen still that I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say once people ask me questions until they ask the question, and then I answer it. And it's like in those moments, I'm learning as I'm speaking because I've never said
because it's
that
coming
before.
through you, not from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you see? Look, I'm throwing some questions out. Did you see angels?
Mm-mm.
Do we win? Do we win in the end?
Well, in the timeline that I see, yes, we do.
Mine too. I just
Yeah,
wanted to hear what you say.
yeah,
Yes, mine too. Um, do you believe that the things that are going on in the world right now that are bothering people are for our good, even if we don't see it right now?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, and even if it's not necessarily for our good, it's for us not to judge. You know, it's for us to observe and learn from, especially the most vile things that we see. We should know not to ever repeat them. You know, we should create
Yes.
societies where those things can never happen again. Yet we see these things, and they just are recurring themes in our cultures because we're not fixing the problems. So, I think that the bad is supposed to get corrected. And I think that most societies, and particularly ancient times, had frameworks in which to judge our behavior to where they fix things when it needed to be fixed. Whereas now our imaginations, morality and imagination are side by side now. Like people are making up stories about people's entire people, making up stories about history, making up stories about teachings of historical figures. They're making up all of this stuff, and it's like it has no basis in reality, and so it's hard to gauge and measure behavior when people are justifying or rationalizing behavior, twisting teachings or twisting ideas that have some level of truth to them. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, do you feel like even with all that's going on, just like you had your both of your near death experiences, do you feel like if any of those people were supposed to think differently, do you feel like the powers that be,
yeah,
that that energy that felt like velvet as you move through it, could change that if
hmm
it was really necessary,
yeah.
right?
I think so, but for me, like I'm gonna even be honest. Like with me, I died. I didn't willfully change anything. I didn't nam yo ho renge kyo my way to any understanding of anything. I died angry and pretty much an idiot. Thinking that I was right, thinking that that was the way to be here.
Well, I
Yeah.
wouldn't call you an idiot. I don't think you were an idiot. I
Well,
think
I would say just a person, because I did have some characteristics that I would say weren't easy to deal with on even
yeah,
on a personal
you
level.
were
Yeah,
angry and you probably got on some people's last nerve, but
yeah.
you sound like you were very smart.
Oh yeah, very.
But with anything, it, anything, if we think about it, think about it, think about it, and we constantly pile the same type thoughts on it, we're going to be clothed in whatever that is. And you
Yeah,
were clothed in that. And they took you out of those clothes.
yeah.
So with your near death experience, so now you're and you're all over the place. When did you decide to look back at your body and say, "Hey, I want to come back"? Or did you not want to come back? Did they say, "David, you got to go back," or did you just
Mm.
what
It
happened?
was it was the paying attention to those 2 people in the emergency room that brought me back, you know, because I was traveling and I was enjoying what I was experiencing, but I kept checking back on those 2 people,
Mm.
and the last time that I checked in on the lady, I literally felt like I was in her face like, "Hey, this is beautiful, like, you need to understand this, like, this is beautiful," and they resuscitated me, and I was initially, I was mad, really mad that they resuscitated me because the first thought that I had when I opened my eyes was they fucking woke me up. Like I can't believe they woke me up. Like I can't believe it.
I'm back
But the f-
here.
but the first thing I said, like I blurted out, "Are you okay?" And I was looking at the lady in the corner. I was like looking for her. They looking at me like, "What's wrong with him?" And then I asked the guy with the
Because you
defibrillator
didn't
pad.
know her.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But
And
from
then you,
above, she looked like somebody else. She looked like my aunt from above. But when I
oh,
came back, it's just a young lady that works at the emergency room, and she was still holding her face, when I came back. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. But from above, she didn't look like, and she didn't look. I think that's kind of how me thinking or seeing her as my aunt is probably why my attention was so much more. Um,
To
here,
come back.
kept checking. And that last time when they resuscitated me, I was here. I was back in that room and they resuscitated me. And then I was in her face, and then I was looking at the guy. I was in her face talking to her, trying to get her to hear me. And then they resuscitated me. I was looking at the guy holding the defibrillator pads. He was standing there looking crazy. So it was those 2 people that was, the whole time that I was concerned about. The other people I could see, I couldn't really hear their thoughts and feel what they were feeling as much. And I think it's simply because they were more focused on just doing their job.
Doing the job.
And I don't think they had as much, they were more, I guess, professional. They didn't have as much emotion. They just was focused on doing the work.
Yes.
And at first I thought it was like they didn't care as much. That's the first time but I don't ever really think it was that. I just think that they had learned how to keep their emotions, their nervous system a bit more regulated as they were
Yes.
doing extremely stressful work. And I think you
Yes.
have to be able to do that. I think the 2 people that were feeling so much, one wasn't even involved with the resuscitation. She must have either been new, or I don't know, like her job may have been to just record the time of death. I don't know. Like she just was sitting there, like really doing nothing. And
Mm.
the other guy just seemed really disturbed, like really almost like a hero. Like he wanted to be the hero, and he didn't think it was going to happen. And I just wanted him to know it wasn't totally in his hands. So
Now, before when you were angry, one of the things, well, when you were a child, you said it used to bother you, see the roadkill on the side of the road, stuff like that.
mm,
Now that you've had your near death experience and you wanted them to know it's beautiful over here, do you think differently about those animals because their soul isn't in their bodies?
yeah, it's the same now. I think as that I think about, because a friend of mine I just was talking to recently, their dog of like 16 years is dying. And they got the dog because they're a younger person. They got the dog in their teens, and now they're an adult. And it's like as a teen, as a younger person getting it, they didn't imagine this day coming.
Yeah.
But the way that I shared with her was like, um, when I was having hypertension, like, and the pain that I was having in my shoulders, back, the pain, just the discomfort of having extremely high blood pressure all the time, never really feeling relaxed. Um, like it wasn't comfortable being in this machine, in this body. And I was explaining, like, as these bodies age, they are not as true. They don't perform as truly, as they did when we were younger. And even the data that they interpret isn't even being interpreted as true as it was when we were younger. So we could either observe that and lament over it, or we will have undoubtedly watched so many elders pass and go through the aging process and the dying process in our life, to where we should be preparing for it versus lamenting over our bodies, not being what they used to be. Because for me, I can joke about it and laugh about it. I talk to younger people now, like, "You young whippersnapper, I used to be able to," and just make
Yeah.
jokes about it, because I don't have to. I don't have that to offer as much anymore. But I can give him advice on life, and I can explain technique when it comes to athleticism and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna dunk on you and show you how to dunk no more. Like, that's a
Yeah.
done deal. you know. But I
And
do,
it's
yeah.
funny too, because you're a young man.
Yeah, I'm 49.
You're a baby. You're
Yeah,
a
I feel
baby.
like a hundred
You
and
you
37
yeah,
years
you
old.
talk like you 83 or something. Yeah, the body ain't the same. But
Mm,
seems like to me from your near death experience, I would be thinking like, okay, my soul is in this body and I control this body. I can make this body what I want it to be.
nah, I can, but I'm actually still healing from the damage that I did in the first, in those 34 years of misery. So for
Yeah.
me, it's like it's still a recovery process in a lot of ways for me still. And there's still some old software that I'm still having to, get cleaned out.
Get cleaned out. Do
Yeah.
you ever couple of things that I like to do is the parts of my body that are beautiful, healthy and whole. I like to talk to those parts, give those parts attention, because what I found people have a tendency to do when their knees hurt or their back hurts or the chest hurts or
Mhm.
whatever, they focus on those areas. So those areas get attention. That's when the parts of the body get attention, when
Yeah.
they hurt. So they hurt. Look at me. Pay attention to me. So
Yeah.
I go to the other parts and say, "Ooh, thighs, I love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Feet, thank you for carrying me around." And another thing, because of the power that you have, do you ever quiet your mind and lay your, because listen, after your near death experience, you came back with a bunch of love. Do you ever direct that love to the parts of your body that you're still healing? Because right now, what I'm seeing, 10 more years, you're going to be given another testimony about how healthy your body is. And once you started utilizing your mind to bring the health forth,
Yeah.
do you ever do that?
Yeah. One thing that I learned from being in that space, from dying and being in that space, is that I never have loved myself. Um, I don't even know if I understood what love was until I died. Like, I think the movies and the romantic love as being the centered love, the only love that we generally discuss, that had maybe not really understand what love was, but when I was
Mm.
there, it was tangible. It
You
felt
felt
like,
it.
yeah. and
Oh,
and now I expect to feel it here, and I do. And it's like makes your hair stand up. It gives you goosebumps. But I don't think people feel it. I think people just talk about it and they say it, but I think if we stopped, talking about it so much, and putting all kinds of limiting definitions of it, or seeing images only that are on television or wherever, um, we would actually feel it. We would feel it. We would learn how
mm,
to feel it, and I think that that would be way more important in us than the way that we sometimes the demonstrative things that we do, versus just like, if you could just feel it, you wouldn't even need anybody to do anything ever. You just want to feel that.
you're like, you're like,
Yeah.
it's And I understand
Like I
orgasm
kind of got
in
lost in
mine.
it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand because I had visitation. My aunt and my uncle came to visit me after they had passed, and and to make a long story short, they looked like they were about in their 30s. She was fit, he was chiseled,
Mhm.
when in real life he was real skinny and she was really big. And
Mhm.
I could see that they were brown. Her hair was all coiled up. He had on his uniform. I could see that they were brown, but I could see straight through both of them. And they had on this white outfit with the most amazing embroidery I've ever seen in my life.
Mhm.
And everything about them just it felt like an orgasm 100 times over.
Yeah.
Where I was just like paralyzed on the floor. I couldn't move. And that's when I realized that both pain and pleasure were paralyzing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Extreme pain, you
Yeah.
can't move from the birth of my baby girl who was stillborn. Extreme pleasure, you can't move. It's like,
Yeah.
you know. So I get it. What do you think with the people that are upset in the world now, especially black men? Like, I had this brother ask me, he said, Tangi, as a black man, though, people be stepping to me, and, I got to make them treat me with respect.
Mhm.
He said,
Yeah.
what do I do? I got to protect my family. I got to protect my children. Somebody stepped to me. What do I do? And I love the Lord. That's what he said. I love
Yeah.
God. So, what would you suggest for somebody like that?
Like I mean, my experience was I was so angry that I created those scenarios that I was speak
Mm,
about not being tired of having to fight for this. Well, I was the fighter, most of the time. Whether I instigated it through my behavior or the energy that I carried around, or wish somebody would. So I wish you would. So if you carrying that energy, you're gonna always see a combatant that you could shoot. And
mm.
so for me, is like I would even an example that I would do that after my near death experience, I just looked at my whole life and was like, I created it all. Like I made it all happen that way with
Now,
my
did you think this while you were still on the other side, or after you came back in your body?
after I came back in my body.
Okay,
There
go
were
ahead.
some things that like during my life review was very brief and it was just mostly feelings and like flashes of images. It wasn't really detailed, but it was
Hmm.
really brief. But what I got out of it is I used to say yes to things that I had no intention of doing, you know, and
Mm.
I can't do that, because I actually felt people that were still disappointed about some
Oh,
expectation that I didn't follow up on because I didn't even take it seriously. Like it was okay. And they were serious about it and I wasn't. So I'm not gonna say yes to things that I can't do. And I'm not gonna over spread myself thin by trying to be responsible for so many people and things that I can't do any of it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and that was something I learned. Like, don't say yes if you can't follow through. Don't say yes. And that was a deep feeling for me because that was something that I might even still have to work on that. That's the clarity that I have now is that I watch my behavior now, whereas before I apologize later. Now I watch my behavior as it's happening and I can correct myself and apologize. I can apologize the next day. I can choose to apologize in the moment. I know when I'm wrong, always. I know when
Hmm.
I could have chosen a better way to communicate. I know whereas before it was usually after the fact, thinking about it, ruminating and brooding. And it's like, man, I wish I had done this. Whereas now it's like, you got an F for that interaction and maybe you'll get an A
Mm.
tomorrow, you know. But I don't beat
Mm.
myself up for misbehaving anymore. I know how to behave, and I generally can correct myself in the midst of it. But when I don't, oftentimes sometimes I can be frustrated. You know, I don't have the two things that I still feel probably the same way is impatience sometimes and frustration. And but
Mm.
it's still based upon storytelling or expectation or thing, or disappointment, you know. And I'm learning to not even allow those things to uh, make me create stories, because it's just not useful to me anymore, to make up something when reality is in front of me, and all that I'm dealing with is a no, not all of the other
Oh, I
things.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Create stories. So if you say, Tangi, will you run with me to the store real quick? And I say, no, David, I can't. Creating a story would be, Tangi doesn't like me.
Exactly.
Tangi doesn't like me. Tangi's
Yeah.
not my friend. She told me no. I called. She didn't answer the phone. She probably didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
I
If
got
we
you.
that's only in your mind.
Yes.
What we experience is so cut and dry always. It's just reality is so in your face. It is what it is. But then we stack on a whole bunch of emotion and expectation and past experience and disappointment and trauma and bias, all on to those just very, benign moments, and then we turn them into something toxic or extreme.
And all of that causes us dis-ease
Yes.
and
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
Yes. I,
But
I would always tell my kids, if you don't know, then guess the best thought. Guess
yeah.
the thought that works for you.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. And another thing is that if there is a problem, um, if you if the problem makes you trigger, if it triggers you and you want to fix the problem, thinking about the problem isn't the way to go. The thinking about the solution is the way to go. But if you're triggered, you don't even have access to executive functioning. So you probably are not even going to think about the solution, but you're going to stay in that triggered state and only think about the problem. And I did that for so long. I wasn't solving problems. You don't solve problems when you're triggered. You save yourself, and saving yourself is ruminating over this imaginary transgressor or danger that ain't real. It ain't no danger. It's just some
Mhm.
ideological stuff that you've made up, a story you've made up in your head, and you gotta fix it yourself. Because if some evil white man is responsible for all your problems, how do you fix them? You got to wait until the evil white man decides to fix them.
Right.
Given your
You're
agency.
powerless.
Yes, and so for me, nobody else. There's no more finger pointing in my experience. I am where I've placed myself, and the only way I can get out of it is to think that way. Otherwise, I have to wait for somebody to pick me up and move me somewhere else. And
Yeah.
and my choices and my shortcomings, all of these things, blind spots, I see with clarity, and that's why we end up in our stories how we end up, not because of a lot of this other stuff that we point fingers to, and that's how I end up here. But it's like there's no fingers to point, so for me, it's just, if you don't have fingers to point and you don't allow temporary circumstances and consensus reality to trigger you all the time, you just think your way out of it. You figure it out. But if
Mhm.
you triggered it and you let the circumstances change your whole state, then at the end of that, when it does run its course, because all problems will eventually run their course, you are
Hallelujah.
you're not the same person anymore. You're a
Yeah.
traumatized version of yourself who was so impacted by that moment that now moving forward, when the moment ain't even there anymore, you're still reliving it over and over and over and over and over and over in situations where those variables don't even exist. You're seeing
Yeah.
them still because
Mhm.
your attention was only on the problem. While you were in the problem, you were never trying to change your state to experience something else. You know, and that's kind of where it's how I talk to people, is like, how many problems have we fixed, in the triggered state? Name a problem have you that I fixed. I don't know many problems I fixed in the triggered state. I probably exacerbated simple issues while I was triggered, stuff that I could have just said, oh, I'm sorry, while I was triggered. I took it a whole different course, because you don't
Yes.
think clearly when you're triggered.
Yes.
So we're not going to solve problems in a triggered state. So when people are walking around talking about they always this and they're always that, ain't nobody always nothing. Ain't nobody always bothering nobody. I don't see that. I've been to a lot of places that are considered violent. Even here in Atlanta, I live in areas that are considered the hood or whatever. I've lived
Yeah.
in them. I
Yeah.
don't. My buddy used to make jokes about me, where I lived, because it was supposed to be a seedy area. He moved up to this area, up 400 and way up north in Atlanta, And I think the first month he was there, somebody broke in his car and stole all of his photography equipment. He had lived in that apartment complex for a long time. Nobody ever took anything from
Bothered
him.
anything. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just I think we bring a lot of those experiences to ourselves with our, our energy, our thinking. If you mad, people, you're gonna pull it out of other people when you pass them, and I did that sometimes. So
So what do you think a person should do who is very angry and triggered? Because it's yourself, it's hard to just jump out of that.
hmm uh,
So what's some advice you would give to someone
yeah,
who is
pick pick up babies. Um,
pick
do
up?
garden, put your feet in the dirt, get fresh air, learn breathing exercises, meditate. Like you have to do life and love affirming things if you want to get out of that state. Now, if you don't know you in that state and you just, but once you know that state that you're in that state, the only way out of that state is to do things that are life and love affirming. And like for me, I've said this even on Instagram, I think, or Facebook. Like if you're just gonna choose to be angry, make sure you do life and love affirming things. Go put your hands in the dirt. Go pick up babies. Grow some stuff. Talk to
Rub a
elders.
dog.
Yeah, bro. Do that stuff. Because if you don't do those things and you feel that way for an indefinite amount of time, you're going to destroy parts of your anatomy, your physical body, your nervous system. You're going to burn things out because we're not designed to feel emotions indefinitely. I would say, I think I read things that say 30 seconds, 90 seconds. We're not supposed to feel anything for much longer than that. After that, you're choosing, you're ruminating, you're telling yourself the same story over and over and making yourself feel it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I did for years and years and years. You make yourself, it's like tapping on the same spot in the wall long enough, you put a hole in it. It's like overstimulating an area of your brain, an organ in your
Mm.
body for thinking the same thought over and over and over forever. You will destroy an organ. You will destroy a nerve path. You're gonna do something just by constantly in that one state forever, making yourself stay there forever. It's
Mm.
just burning stuff out.
That's interesting. Do you think that's true if someone is thinking a happy thought over and over and over
I
again?
don't think so. I don't, unless it's delusion, unless there's a gap between that thought and reality, a huge gap that is not
Yeah.
based upon me intending or using my sovereignty and agency in this place to wield what it is I want. If it's not that thing, and you're just in some delusional idea that makes you happy, as soon as those circumstances don't exist anymore, your happiness is gone. So for me, it's like the happiness is there. It has to be there, and that's what fuels the manifestation or the ability for us to kind of will this place to be what we can make it be. I think we're co-creating it on a fundamental level, like on a basic level, and on very deep levels. And I think that we should really be clear on our what our attention does. Like, because the clearest thing that I could say that I was when I was out of my body, the best word, even though I heard all those words that describe, is attention. When I was there, like attention seemed to be the word that's like that's what I was attention. Because
Attention.
everywhere I pointed my attention was where my
Ooh.
experience happened. When I said I and moved my attention somewhere, I zigzagged all through space saying I and moving my attention around. And
Wow.
and here it's the same thing. Wherever you
It's the
put your attention
same
on,
thing.
that's where your experience is gonna happen.
Yes,
So
my mother used to say, what you're focusing on is focusing on you.
yeah,
And I remember we used to talk about how, like, when we were teenagers and we wanted to get a car.
yeah,
And I want a convertible Toyota Celica GTS. That was mine. And I would see them everywhere
yeah,
because that's what I was focusing on.
exactly. I think our
Mm.
attention creates this experience, and we got so many screens now, and news don't even by law have to be news anymore. It's entertainment. Like the culture part of it is so different to where our attention is they're vying, like the media, the commercials, the people selling products,
It's a
everybody.
lot. It's a
It's so
lot
much, so much.
coming at us.
So we have to if for me, if we are attention and attention It's what allows you to create the experience of your choosing in this life. You can't give it away so easy. We can't put it in a phone all day like that and think that we're going to create something that we want out of our experience. Our attention is like creative currency, and we just freely give it to any and everybody, even when it comes to somebody that you think is trying you out there. It's like, why give them your attention? Why? Why? They don't
Yeah.
deserve my. If a person comes by me and says something crazy, I might look at them with a look that lets them know that choose wisely. But I'm not gonna give them much more attention other than that. And it's because I
Yeah.
have a memory of being somebody that might not mind fighting. So I know how to still posture that way. I know how to still I carry that energy. Yeah, it's like I'm not turning that energy. Like if somebody around me needs that energy, I need to summon it. And it's
Yes.
more of responding how you need to respond versus reacting in some emotional way and end up losing your cool. I've had strange things happen where I've responded and it wasn't my body didn't change. I had this guy pull a knife on me after my near death experience. Not it was some years after, and I didn't respond. My blood pressure didn't go up. I didn't.
Wow.
Nothing happened. I looked at him and I laughed and I said, "Man, what are you doing?" and he
Wow.
started telling me that I did something. He said you. He said the word that he used was you. It was a word like mean mugging me, like you mean mug me. But he
Oh,
didn't.
oh.
Yeah, but he didn't say mean mug. He said something else. And I said, "What?" I said, "You don't know me." I said, "I don't smile really until I'm talking to somebody. Like until somebody engages me." I said, I'm usually thinking, and I frown when I'm like, I didn't even go into that much detail, but I was like, "You don't know how I carry my face on a day to day basis, bro. You don't." Like I said, you said what's up to me. I said what's up to you, and I kept walking. I said, I didn't think nothing else of it until I turned around and you had a knife in my face, like at my torso. I said,
Wow.
I don't. That said nothing that you're saying is real. And it de-escalated, because I just was I don't know, but I think that sometimes people respond to you being triggered. And if your nervous system stays flat, there's not a whole lot for them to respond to. You know,
Mhm. They
there's
have to
not
be
a lot for
crazy
them to
by
read.
themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. I tell my students when I teach, they say, "Well, so and so said this," and they're telling on the person. And I say, "And you didn't get upset? And you didn't hit them? Oh my goodness, let me give you a sticker." And they're like, "Well, wait. Oh, okay." You know, because I tell them they're
yeah,
little kindergartners, first graders. I said, a lot of times people are going to get you upset. You have to be able to
yeah,
control your emotions.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Like this machine, like goes through all kinds of transitions and changes and milestones. We have, babies going through milestones and changes all the time. And I think choices and choosing begins as early as infancy. And because sometimes some of the things that people share, in spiritually, it doesn't have to resonate with me. It doesn't. Like I don't profess to know anything. I used to have a lot of conclusions and certainty, no more.
No
But
more.
no, but I do think that a lot of the ideas that we share with each other, there's connection in reality that has to be there, whether it's analogical or directly. You can see the relationship. You can't just say anything and not be able to observe it in any way. You know, scaled up and scaled down.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think a lot of us are using our imaginations and passing it as spiritual teaching, which is beautiful. I mean, you can imaginatively think about these things, but to project that onto someone or as a truth or certainty is it's not that's not healthy. And I think that a lot of the times, I remember thinking was communicating with a friend, and we were trying to come to some kind of solid conclusions about frameworks and spirituality and stuff. And every time I think I asked certain questions, like they were able to, like if you get them in a corner, you can make up anything and get out of it if there's no religion, if there's no text or anything guiding what it is that you believe. You can just make up anything and oh yeah, well, actually, it's this. Well, no, it ain't that. It's this. And it's like, well, what's the framework? Like, what makes it make sense? And I don't think
Mhm.
a lot of us consider it. I think that there is autonomy, there is agency and sovereignty here, but this place exists when whether we're here or not. This place is a thing. This is a system that we are a part of, and there are rules, perhaps, or laws. I don't even like the word laws and rules, but it functions a certain way that has been observed by our ancestors over time, and they've documented this stuff. And sometimes it seems that we just don't have the interest in learning how this place works, or we assume that we're so much smarter than our ancestors that we don't dig into the stuff that they shared with us and taught us about this place. But some of what we're doing here is just, it's like it's been done, like, and they've recorded it and they've told us that we're doing it. And it's in epochs. At the end of every epoch, we do this same stuff over and over and over. And it's time to do some different stuff. It's time to choose differently. The body doesn't have to lead all the time. You know.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I grew up Pentecostal, and I've studied a lot of different religions. It was when I went to college and they were teaching me about Zoroastrianism that I was like, wait, hold up, what? They did all this
Yeah.
way before Christianity? Wait, and they stole all that? And so for me, that was when I had my personal conversation with God and Jesus. I said, look here, I love you very much. And I am thankful for the relationship that we have. But for a little while, I got to leave the Bible alone, leave the church alone, and you just got to speak directly to me. We're going to act like I was born into a world where no one has written anything down, because I need to have my own relationship. And that's what I did for years, until I found understanding principles. And then they taught the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible, and they gave me the Bible back. But during that time, I get messages.
Yeah.
You know, like I and I get opportunities to try it. Like I've been blessed with really hard times financially. I've been blessed with hard times physically. I've been blessed with situations where I had no idea what I was going to do mentally, emotionally. I mean, I've had um Pastor Noel Jones said, God creates situations for revelation. I've had some situations
Yeah.
for God to reveal himself in my life.
Yeah.
And in the process of him revealing himself, it's given me a lot of knowledge that I do share that I may or may not have read,
Yeah.
because it's like me talking to you right now. You write a book, I'm gonna be like, well, I talked to David, and this is what he said to me.
Yeah.
Even though I know
Yeah.
your book and what they wrote down was factual, but even what they wrote was at which part of David's life did you talk to him?
Yeah.
Was it at the
Yeah.
early part when he was investigating and wide-eyed? Was it the next part where he had drowned and come out like he was really in a flood? Was it the next part where he was angry? Was it the next part where he was digesting it all, and all the pieces had come together? What was it? Was it after the gold sealed all those pieces together and he was like he floating? When did you talk to him? So I get what you're saying. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you had one thing that you could tell the world, everybody in the world right now, based on your experiences and what you've learned, if it was one thing and everybody would hear you, the mental and the physical perception of
Yeah.
hearing, what would it be?
Um, it's so much, but I would say for me, like the identity stuff and the ideology stuff is like we have, for me, identity. If you view yourself as any idea that exists in consensus reality, it's loaded. It comes with a script, and you're not living an authentic life.
Okay, pause. So that's why I don't like people tell me I'm a strong black woman.
Yeah.
But even being a black woman, that
Hmm.
comes with a
A
lot.
script,
That's what you mean.
exactly.
Okay, go ahead. Keep
All right.
going.
Once you drop all of this attachment to identity, and if you view yourself in a similar light as awareness, attention, for me, attention works
I like
because if you
attention.
view yourself as attention, you won't behave in a way that allows your attention to be diluted. You won't put yourself in places where your attention is focused on things that you know will influence your outcomes or influence your perspective of reality. So if you know you are attention, put your attention on things that feed you, that truly feed you in all ways. You know, that things that you enjoy. Even it's not always about some agenda, some ambition that you have. Sometimes your attention just simply needs to be present and as still as possible. Listen to your heart. Listen to your breathing. Nothing else. Don't worry about some consensus reality pursuit. Always, you know. But if you know that your attention, um, and you drop all the identity stuff, you know that your attention, you can create the experience that you want to have here. You drop all the identity stuff, there are no lenses, there are no biases, there's no bad stories influencing what you're seeing and how you're interpreting it. So you're seeing reality once you drop the identity stuff. Now you to yourself as attention only, you create with with what's here, and no, there's no judging it, there's no, and it does change, and it does change, and if you can see it happen in your life, and if we all understood this, and we all focused our attention on ideas that were sustainable, ideas that involve that focus that were not just consensus reality, ideas that were important, love, that's something that
Ah,
you don't even need a reason to love. But to hate somebody, you got to make up a story to hate somebody, and you got to
yeah,
repeat it to yourself over and over and over and over and over to make it
yeah,
stick. You know, so for
yeah.
me, your attention, drop the identity stuff, realize your attention, and then use that knowing to create the experience that you want. And it's simple when you're not having to read any scripts or do any just jumping through hoops and being, doing things of putting all of your attention on things that are just temporary. Like, no,
I
yeah,
like that. Guess what my new name is?
what's that?
Aha. Aha.
Ah,
Aha.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I
Every
like that
time
a
I said it, I
lot.
just moved. I moved somewhere else.
I like that. That's like soul
Yeah,
travel. You
yeah,
think where you want to go. I
yeah.
like it. I like it. I like it. Baby, you are awesome. I went
Thank
over.
you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
long-winded too. So.
no, no, no. That was great. That was great. My favorite moments. Imagining me being love, light, consciousness, awareness, soul, attention. Aha. That and nothing is here, but everything is here.
Yeah.
We have every possibility. And if you can touch the bottom, you can push yourself back up. Go to the doctor. That
Yes.
was another one.
Yeah.
Um, so that means, um, see, now I'm giving to go even longer. I'm sorry, real quick. I'll be quick.
Yeah, well, you're fine. Yeah.
So, so with all of this that's going on in the world right now, like I don't watch the news. I don't. I like to feel good.
Yeah.
I love to feel good. You know already.
Yeah.
I do. So I do things that make me happy, and the things that feel, you know. mm.
Yeah.
Um. So what do you think about? Like some people say, you need to be aware of what's going on. They've told
Yeah.
me that all my life, and I say I'm above all of that. That's not part of my reality unless I welcome it in.
Yeah.
But do you think we need to be aware of what they're doing
Well,
out there?
I think that we need to keep our attention where we have agency. If I put my attention in Gaza, and I'm so sad about what's happening in Gaza, I'm ignoring my reality around me, and my attention isn't being used to improve myself or the circumstances and people around me.
Yeah.
And I have zero agency in Gaza. Me putting my attention on Gaza doesn't change Gaza, but me putting my attention around me allows me to learn the circumstances that are impacting me in my immediate reality, and I can do something about it. What happens with us is that because we have so many screens and we're so connected to the world now, our ancestors didn't have that. Our nervous systems aren't evolved to know what's going on in every part of the planet at any given time. And we're not. That's not even how our nervous systems work. So if you put your attention in a war zone, your body could very well start being triggered as if it's in a war zone. So,
Yes.
but we are not in one. And we don't have to put our attention in places that are extremely toxic and dangerous like that all the time. We can put our
Yes.
attention on the problems that are around us, which mostly involved us learning how to behave properly, treating each other right, you know, not falling into these ideological, battles that exist here. So many of them, men, women, white, black, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to get out of it because it's not useful at all for as it relates to where we're going. The timelines that where we have a chance, none of that stuff is useful. You know,
Yeah.
the timelines where we have a chance, there is no identity war that is useful. There is no ideological war that is useful. None of it. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. 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 I have found in my life that every problem that I've ever experienced had a blessing right in the middle of it. If I
Yeah.
could do like you said earlier, and instead of focusing on the problem, say, okay, what is it that I need to do here?
Yeah.
And zero in on and focus on the solution.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
what happens when you put your attention on things that you don't have any control over is that eventually you feel helpless because
Yeah.
because it is helpless. It's a helpless situation to think that you're going to think about Gaza and it's going to get better, but if you keep your attention on things, that where you actually do have agency, that you don't feel helpless. You get dopamine rewards for actually doing small things and solving problems, and it puts your body in a state that's difficult to be depressed or difficult to be unhappy. But you feel if you are focusing on things that you can't touch, that helplessness will eventually become hopelessness, and that's when I started getting sick and dying. Is when I didn't believe that anything that I am, mattered at all to this place and this outcome. And I became
Mm,
hopeless and I got sick fast.
yeah. After you got out the hospital from your near death experience, how was life then?
I was depressed for like 3.5 years because I simply wanted to go back where I went when I died. And, and, but I went back to work and I noticed that I was performing better.
Oh.
Um, I didn't have any desire to go to work and argue and debate and feel stuff. I went to work to learn, to perform my job, and that was really it. I didn't go there to discuss politics and to let people know how angry I was. It was strictly about, taking care of what it is that I'm responsible for. That's
How
what I.
did people who were used to you arguing, how did they respond to that?
Um. Uh. I'm still because I don't live in North Carolina and I live in Atlanta now. And some of the people that I was in college with, where I may have seen some of the anger, some of them say they never would have thought it. So, but I think that there are people who have had these moments with that now I can have light moments with, that I wouldn't have been able to have before. My ego wouldn't have allowed it. My anger wouldn't have
Mm.
allowed it. The story that I was telling about that person would have allowed it. Wouldn't have allowed it. Now there are people that I truly did not like in my previous life at all. Like I've had I made up stories about why I don't like them. I metaphysicalized it, but now I can still. I can hug them and love them, and it doesn't nothing just keeps me from
Yeah.
connecting with them because I don't attach myself to those stories anymore.
It's so interesting because before you thought the thought, I don't know if you always let it out, but you had it in your body. And so it was eating you from the inside.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what killed you.
yeah.
And now you don't let it come inside.
No, no. And
Mm,
and if I hear myself thinking something that doesn't make sense, I just correct it. I correct it. Like, if I find myself judging a person, I was like, what's that? Like you've done dumb stuff. Like like you made silly mistakes that, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no reason
right.
for you to ever judge another human. There's no reason for me to ever judge another human being. I killed myself with my thoughts.
Right.
Like so for me it's like
You should make a t-shirt.
yeah.
You should make a t-shirt that says, I killed myself with my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I
for
might
real.
I might do it. I might have to do that.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna write it down. For
Yeah.
real. That's
Remind me. Remind me in Tulum.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Tell the people about Tulum. Tell them about Tulum. Go
Oh,
ahead. Tell them what we're gonna
oh
be
my
doing.
goodness. Betty Guadano, J. Clay, they are the leaders of an amazing, organization called The Will, and they've reached out to some amazing people like Tangi. And I got lucky to get pulled into the group, and we're gonna go do some sharing and learning in Tulum and have an amazing adventure. It's a 5-day retreat, from the 22nd to the 27th
Yes.
in Tulum. And are there any more slots? Because I
We
know I
only
think
have 2 more slots left.
yeah, yeah.
2
So
more
there's the
slots.
website. We have the website up. Come with us to Tulum
Because
and
it's going to
enjoy.
be awesome. We
Yes,
are
indeed.
thewheel.com. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to be on holy ground with
Yeah,
all of these powerful spiritual teachers. You and I
yeah,
mean, just Rebecca and Omar,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Jay and Betty and Allie and Danielle.
yeah,
And
yeah. I'm looking
oh,
forward to it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward
yeah,
to
it's
it.
going to be
Yeah.
amazing. And then you on Instagram are David A. Williamson 731.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, David. All right. And is there anything else you want to share with us?
um. No, that's it. I think this whole experience to me is like don't judge yourself, grade yourself. Like if you make a bad grade one day, if you make a F one day, you can make an A the next. But don't judge yourself. You are not your mistakes. You are not any of that stuff. You're not your blind spots. You're not those things. So just grade yourself and get better. Learn, create a framework even by which you do grade yourself.
Yeah.
Virtues, values. These are things that our ancestors have talked about since times immemorial, and there's useful stuff there. And just use those things as guides, as constraints to your behavior. So because you shouldn't be extreme in any direction, there should be a lot of we should all operate within an acceptable range of behavior that doesn't allow certain things. And I think that
Yeah.
our ancestors understood that we need to kind of revisit some stuff.
That little in between place is really good where um, I'm not putting so much pressure on me to do all of that stuff. And I'm not angry with myself because I feel like I
Yeah,
shouldn't have done this stuff right here in the middle,
yeah,
with my thoughts. My faith is always going, but this is such a comfortable place. And I'm usually focused,
hmm
but there are moments these last few years, again, I say they've been the hardest times that I've had, especially with my mother being gone.
hmm
And I've had moments where I did everything I could do and it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And those times were wonderful because it made me say, okay, God, I'm done. I give up.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm doing what you tell me to do. Now it's time for you to have my back. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I let it go. And then it's taken care of.
Yeah, I'm listening to you in that because that's where I'm kind of I've been at that spot to where it's like the choices, the orientation, the habitual responses, they don't work. They don't work anymore. And so for me it's like I'm gonna take a different approach the and I need to learn, and there's a lot that I need to humble myself, like I said and when we were talking before about just help, asking for help,
Asking
um,
for help.
after I lost my job with the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration,
And
um,
lost your job because of what? Tell why.
federal budget cuts.
Federal budget cuts. Federal budget cuts. This our president. Go ahead.
But I around that time I was seeing the doctors and they had identified an issue with my heart and I was supposed to get this scan, this MRI, cardiac MRI scan, and it cost a lot. And then I lost the insurance when the budget cuts happened. And the twins, Elliot and Jesse, from Coming Home Channel, they they started a GoFundMe campaign.
And I found it.
Yeah, so like I was, my situation has been so difficult to where I don't like to ask for help. I don't feel like I'm anybody any different than any other human being, and everybody has hard times, But one thing that I'm really clear about is in spending so much time angry and cynical about this entire experience, there are some basic things that I just didn't choose to learn here, and now I want to live now. I want to be here now. And
Yeah.
so I'm learning and I'm open to learning from people here about just little tips on how to be here more gracefully, but as far as the internal world, like consensus reality will never at this point in my life will never be the only thing that I judge my worth through, like
Oh
no, not
no,
at
no,
all.
no,
So,
no, no.
because I feel so good internally now that I feel like this external thing is just going to continue to become more clear to me as it has been.
Yes.
There's still some roller coaster stuff going on, but even that, like I'm not screaming through the ride. I'm actually smiling and having a good time through the ride
Yeah.
now.
And sometimes it's fun to scream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not scared. I'm not scared
Right,
through the ride. Yeah,
right,
I'm actually
right.
just still enjoying it. I mean, it's a ride, whether it's a scary part of the ride or not. It's still a ride, and I'm enjoying it all now. So
It's and
yeah,
your higher self, we came here to experience all of it.
all of it.
Happiness,
Yeah,
sadness, anger,
yeah,
frustration, pain.
yeah.
Our higher self is having a ball.
Yeah, and it teach you compassion. Like for me, like compassion has become such a huge important thing for me because if you know how you can get lost in this, then you don't judge anybody else for getting lost in this. You know, I was lost in this. So
Yeah.
if I got lost in this, even though I considered myself exceptionally gifted and a genius, that's what they told me I was all my life, and I still got lost in this. Anybody can get lost in this, so there's nothing to
Yeah.
judge. So for me, even the idea of writing books and being more aggressive about monetizing and creating content and all that other stuff that people talk to me about, I'm just trying to be compassionate. I don't want to spread David's ideology and David's bias and David's trauma. I want to make sure I'm clear on all that stuff, and that stuff no
How will
longer
you know?
influencing me.
How
Uh,
will you
I
know?
feel it. Like I feel it happening. Like I didn't feel this light before. I feel lighter now, even in the midst of difficult times. I feel light all the time, and I don't think that my circumstances influences how I communicate with others and how I treat others. So I'm being in this place, but not of it. I'm here and I'm
Right.
observing it. Things are happening, but I'm still choosing how I'm going to respond to people and how I'm going to treat people. And that's not how I used to be. When my circumstances weren't ideal and I was upset about it, other people had to feel that.
Right. They had to feel
They
that.
had to. They had to feel that, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not the case now. I want people to feel whole always. I want people to feel love. I want to carry that love all the time, no matter what
Yeah.
was happening around me. So
And you don't control other people's feelings
at
too.
all. Yeah.
My sister down there, Angela Dione Anderson, said, I killed myself with my thoughts is a great book title.
Hey, hey, I'm gonna give you some royalties when I if I write that one.
Thank you very much. You might need to go now and
Yeah,
see if the domain is available.
yeah.
I
I'll
killed
check it out.
myself with my thoughts.com. That's like ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
well, David, I'm excited about our trip. Y'all, we all are teaching classes. I teach my own class. Come and
Yeah,
play with us. Play with us on sacred ground and learn from mm, what's
amazing
the word?
people.
Amazing people. Learn
Yeah,
from amazing people. There are so many different gifts and experiences. For me, you know, I would want to go and just sit in a circle and talk.
yeah.
All
That's
the
kind of
extra stuff that
that's
we
kind
have
of what my
planned.
one of my exercises is going.
Is it story time?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, because just imagine with all of these psychics and people who have had these near death experiences, like, even if we just get together and we all hold hands and visualize
yeah,
whatever it is we
yeah,
want.
yeah,
Oh, I look forward to doing that,
yes,
something like that with all of the guests on my podcast.
mhm,
We all come together
yeah,
and
yeah,
create because it starts here.
yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate you
I appreciate you too.
very much.
Yeah,
Y'all, whatever hard times you might be going through, it's just that you're going through it. While you were talking, I was thinking the greatest gift, or one of the greatest gifts that I have had, was giving birth to my baby girl who was stillborn,
mm,
because that was the first that experience pulled me down in my body
yeah,
because I was hurt. I was
yeah,
angry. I was disappointed in God. I was disappointed in my angels. I was mad. Like,
yeah,
how they gonna do me like this? Me.
yeah,
And 6 months, I'm saying, why, God? Why? Why'd you take my baby? Why'd you take my baby? I mean, my baby. And when God gave me the answer, I saw the darkness started at my feet and it went up my body, up until I could breathe again. And I
mm,
was back. And from that experience, aside from what the last 10 years have been, because they've been another type of trying,
mm,
frustration, disappointment, hardness, but that was ooh. But to make
yeah,
it through that, to find the gift, and he blessed me with a lot of synchronicities so that I could see that everything happens for a reason. It
yeah,
all hooks up together and it all works together for my good.
yeah,
And she chose me for a reason. She chose me, how blessed I am. And we fit together perfectly for a reason.
mhm,
So the lessons that I learned from that, I applied to every situation,
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah,
So um that Pentecostal upbringing is really good because all things work together for good is one that is cemented right here.
yeah,
My mother always told me, Tangie, you were blessed in my womb, cemented
Yeah.
here. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Cemented
Yeah.
here. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Everything
Yeah.
always works out for me. God loves me. You know,
Yeah.
I hear that voice talk to me, that still small voice, and it leads me and I follow. And then it's like when President Obama was in office, even if I didn't agree with everything that he said, I knew he had my best interests. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I trust that whatever it is that he's doing, he believes it's going to be better for me. And that's what I believe with God. Whatever it is that happens, it's going to be better. And sometimes I'm like, but
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah.
So that's all. So, people, if you're going through something right now, it's a lot of people going through financial problems. I mean, whoever they are changing it up so that they who are not they are having a difficult time. But we've made it through worse times.
Yeah.
Didn't you say look back and see how times repeat themselves?
Yes. Yeah. And at
Yeah.
the end of every epoch, it's the same type of stuff happening, you know, and we can choose to read the script or we can decide to do something else here.
So do something else and try to have some fun sometimes, because life is meant to be fun. And your joy, like if we are really what David said he saw, he felt when he was on the other side, love, light, consciousness, awareness, soul, attention. Aha, that's me. If we really are that, then we really need to find some things that make us happy and do some of those things, focus on those things so that we can create more joy in our lives.
Yeah.
Because even right now, while there are people who are homeless, there are people who are losing their jobs, there are people having a hard time, there are also people who are thriving. I
Exactly.
ride down the road and see new houses being built.
Yeah.
Reverend Deli used to say there's money being made every day. And so where is your focus?
Yeah.
Um, Loren Janelle used to tell me, Tangie, stop questioning it. Stop questioning it, because when I started going through hard times, I was like, what? I'm gonna live 50 years doing well, and then the next 50 is gonna be hard. She's Tangie, stop, stop,
Mm,
stop.
yeah.
Stop, because when we question it, or when we I need, or I want, we're focusing on the lack thereof.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you can't stop focusing on the lack thereof, if that's all that comes at your mouth, then try to be what? Neutral.
Yeah. That's what I feel like I owe myself. I think I was extremely passionate and emotional before, and I think that contributed to killing me. So now, like, I try. If I am too expressive and it somehow contaminates my point, then
Oh,
I have to get flat, and breathing helps that, and just not allowing data that's not relevant to influence, how I'm behaving in any given moment. I
that's
can't
good.
yeah, I don't need to talk about what they did 20 years ago to solve a problem right now, or to address, a moment that we're dealing with right now. And anything else other than dealing with the moment contaminates what you're doing. You're not dealing with reality anymore. You're dealing with some trauma, or some bias, or some stuff you just didn't let go of, resentment. You know,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, look, while you were talking, what I was thinking, when we get to Mexico, I'm gonna grab your hands and spin around.
yeah. We can frolic. That's frolic.
Yes. Yes. When was the last time you frolicked?
uh,
Took off your shoes and walked in the beach or ran on the beach?
I hung out on the beach at the
I
beginning
didn't
of
say
this
hung
year.
out, ran, frolic.
Ran. Nah, it's been a long time. I haven't frolicked in a while. I need to
Yeah,
frolic.
you need
Yeah,
to frolic.
yeah,
You need to frolic. Y'all, I'm
yeah.
gonna make sure that he frolics. We're all gonna frolic. Okay. Angela, my darling, I look forward to seeing you. You got to come on again. We got to talk about when. David, you would love Angela. She would be great at the podcast too.
Okay.
She's really good for her YouTube page. She has this music where like angelic beings, forgive me if I say it wrong, speak through her.
Mm,
Look, she said, "Indeed, thank you," and it's beautiful. Like whenever I couldn't stop my brain, I
hmm.
would go to her page, and I would put my headset on, and I would listen to it, and it's beautiful. It's relaxing. The music is relaxing, and it feels like it's healing my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to send me a link. Send me her
I will
links.
send you her
Yeah.
link. Are you on YouTube?
I have an account and it's an old account. I got some stupid videos from like ages ago. I got a video of my buddy's son rapping. like I I haven't, I swear I haven't done anything, as it relates to organizing any stuff around this stuff. And I just haven't. I've been trying to fix my life.
But ain't God good? He's doing it without you. So, is there
Exactly.
anything I can do to help you before we hang up?
Um You amazing. I think this is gonna help, and I think we'll talk more. Later in Tulum, we're gonna talk, and we're gonna be in touch. So I'm sure we'll figure out some ways to collaborate and help. Get me on track.
And we're gonna frolic.
Frolic, yes. Looking forward to some frolicking.
Aha, aha.
ah,
Because I see you. I see your light. I see your
yes.
power. I see it. Aha. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. I am going to sleep. That's another thing that you do whenever you're frustrated. If something's bothering you and you can't get it together, go to sleep.
Go to
Right
sleep.
now, that's not what's happening though. I was just up on the phone. No, all night last night. And then I had to wake up 4 day this morning. You
Yeah.
see somebody laughing. You see somebody laughing.
Hey, it's your fault.
You see, 4 day this morning, I had to go to work, and I was just being like
I'm
this.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What is that? So I'm gonna go and take me a nap. But I love y'all, and I will be back Wednesday. Do you know anything about timelines?
I mean, I used to think that when I saw something that I was seeing the future, and
Yeah,
now I realize that I'm seeing a timeline, and it's not it like I can't tell the entire planet where we're going because
yeah,
we're co-creating this experience. But there are timelines that are very clear to people, and share if they share it and they don't share it in an anxiety inducing way, I think it's very useful because we don't know which timeline that we all are going to experience here, So for me, it's
right.
like telling people what the future is. Now, no, we could share a future or a possibility, but I don't know if I'm capable of sharing the future. But I can share the only future that I'm interested in participating in, and that's the timeline where we figure things out. And there's this city that I've spoken about in other interviews that I've seen, and it's a glowing city, and it's beautiful, and it can't happen without without global collaboration because not only the logistics of needing different materials from so many different places to do it, but it's located in a place where there's historically a lot of tension, and the city is going to be there, and it's going to be a center of peace and a lot of innovation and creativity and love, and I see it like I've seen it from space, I've seen it from inside, and I've seen it as a person walking in it, and I don't
Ooh,
I don't participate in any timeline where that city it doesn't exist. So
I'm excited. I'm excited. I believe that's where we're going, though.
yeah.
I believe
Some people
now.
have told me that other spiritual teachers have spoken about this glowing city, but
Yes,
it is definitely something that I've seen, and I think it's That's what I wanted. That's the timeline I'm participating in. The other
Mm.
stuff doesn't interest me because we can do some dumb things here. You know, there's some bad possibilities, and
But aha.
but those are not the ones I participate in.
Aha. Yeah. Aha. Oh,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but I tend to feel like I could be on I feel like we're all creating our own experiences simultaneously.
yeah,
So like I could be creating one world and having one experience, and then somebody could be right here beside me and having a totally
yeah,
different experience.
yeah,
You know, I heard this thing that just has not left me. It's like it is I wasn't meant to improve this timeline that I, Tangela Warner Ambrose, am existing in right now. I was meant to outgrow it.
mm,
And when I
yeah,
heard that, ooh, because it made me feel like everything that I'm experiencing now, keep my head up, stay positive, continue to move through it. It's going to be hard, but I'll be taken care of. And when it's time, it's over.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if it got comfortable for me here, then I would chill.
yeah,
And I'm not supposed to chill because
mm,
I got too much to do.
yeah,
What do you think about that?
yeah. I mean, I think what has kept me from I guess absurd. Like there's so much absurd like stuff to me, you know, now. Comparing like culture and like one culture to another, how differently people from one place see things than in a another place, how differently people in the same place see things, and but it all for me comes from our earliest impressions. Like, people speak about the inner child and all that stuff. I think it's first impression, early impressions, and we choose how to behave here or how to see stuff here based upon how we experience it the first time. Sometimes that first time is 5 years old, and now we are emotionally responding to certain triggers in that 5 year old way because we've never investigated where we learned the behavior in the first place. So I think for me is like uh there's so much absurdity when it comes down to how one person sees things versus another because of that variation in our experience. And it's like I don't take it as seriously. I used to take my perspective seriously. I used to take myself so seriously. I don't take it as seriously as I used to, but at the same time, it's like there's action that needs to take place. Like we need to do things here to make things better. And it does start here, but there's still some action that we know. Like this is not rocket science. Like treating people well, love ain't rocket science. Operating in consensus reality when the rules change every day, that's rocket science. And this is
Yeah.
artificial. We're talking about widgets, making widgets and selling widgets and using fiat currency that has nothing back in it. Like that's
Yeah.
the most complicated absurdity that we spend all of our attention on when the more real things are here for us to engage as well. And I think that's for me. I don't know. Like it just I would rather put my attention on things that are sustainable versus
Okay.
these highs and lows
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
So, in these last few minutes, because you will have me talking till 11 o'clock, I'll still be here. In these last few minutes, um, tell me 10 things, sentence,
Mhm.
that you want to grow, that you want to put your attention on.
Yeah.
Let's touch and agree on 10 things.
Yeah. Man.
Aha, number one.
Yeah, that's one. Love. Um,
Now, and by saying love, you mean love of your neighbor, love in a relationship, love your child. What do you
Just
mean?
just there should be no storytelling or
Uh, 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 We're We're not doing the no storytelling.
uh
We're
oh, what we focusing on. Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if we have a chalkboard, I have a chalkboard, and I am an angel working for David A. Williamson, and whatever he puts on this chalkboard is what I'm going to make manifest in his life, right? So, and I don't understand no and want and hate
Yeah.
and love and all that. It's the subject. What is it? You saying storytelling? Is that what you want to focus on?
No, because
Okay,
that's
so
not useful.
let's erase that. Number one, you
Yeah.
said love.
Yeah.
Aha, number two.
Yeah. Attention.
Okay, attention. Attention, but attention to what?
Attention. Attention to what it is that you desire here versus what you don't want. Kind of like what you're focusing
Okay,
me
so
on. Yeah.
we're creating your world right now.
Okay.
So
Okay. So for me,
so
okay.
what David A. Williamson wants,
Okay.
love. Number two,
Um, need to uh more clarity. More clarity.
clarity.
Yeah.
Okay. Number three,
Um, healing.
healing. Number four,
Uh, understanding.
understanding. Number five,
Temperance.
temperance. Number six,
Abundance.
I was waiting for that one. Abundance.
Yeah.
Number seven,
Overflow.
overflow. Yes. Number eight,
Peace.
peace. That's what I'm talking about. Number nine,
Mm, family. And yeah,
family.
family. Um,
Family. Family in what sense?
um, I was gonna say, yeah, just family and friends because I view all of it. I view it all a lot. I value it all in a very similar
Family
way.
and friends. Okay.
Yeah.
And number 10,
Um, hmm. Hmm. Something. I'm trying to think of a word, but it's I was triggered for a long time. I'm not so triggered, but there are triggering things. So I think it's just something that speaks to me mastering, keeping
one of
my.
one of mine would be ease. Is that it?
I think ease is that's kind of it because it's like nothing is like when I as long as I can keep my what I can control, which is myself. If I can control myself, nothing is really hard. Like I don't. When you lose control, you run the risk of hurting another person, offending another person. So now you've lost control of yourself. Now you've lost control of the situation because you've been graceless in it. and now you have to deal with the results of that. So ease, I think, kind of
Ease
encapsulates
or
what
regulated?
regulated. Regulated is perfect too. Yeah, regulated.
Regulated.
Yeah, regulated.
Okay. I'm going to send you this
Okay.
because this is your focus. This is where your attention is.
Yeah.
Because when you see what people need to do all the time, you're seeing the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send you your focus.
Thank you.
I got you.
Yeah.
And let me see. If I had to name 10 for me real quick, it would be happiness, love, abundance, ease, freedom, safety, um, 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 barefoot in the grass, um, naked in the backyard, um, um, spiritual sessions by the pool. uh, and um, I want to assist. I want to assist others.
Yeah. That's important to me. Being of service to others is a big part of why I think I'm even here still. So
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because sometimes God shows me, He says, Tangi, you don't know why they came. You don't know what they came for. Like my baby girl who was stillborn, what he told me, she had had many lives before. She
mhm.
didn't have to come back. She came back because she wanted to experience love in the womb. She didn't want to be here. But those other times, she had had really tough lives. And so this time, she just wanted to feel that love. And
Mhm.
she did. And then she stuck her foot out and jumped back up. But from a
Yeah.
human perspective, we're all like, oh, we think that she's supposed to have, what do you say, the consensus reality,
Yeah. The shared reality.
the
Yeah.
shared
Yeah.
reality. And in the shared reality, there's never a good time to die.
Yeah.
Whether she just felt she felt an abundance of love, and then whoop, that's a great time.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that first year and you still happy, or 5 years or 11 years or 15,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. If a person lives 100 years, we're like, oh, she just made 100.
Yeah.
So but I learned from her that all of us come from different reasons, from her and from my other children. Because with my children, I had to have that conversation with God, and I said, I'm a seer. And so I see how they could have a life of ease.
Yeah.
But just maybe there's some lessons that they're supposed to learn. Let them do it, because I'm just supposed to catch them. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Tangie, sending love from the 2-6. Thank you for being one of Fayetteville's finest. You're welcome, Carl. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you for the love. David's from North Carolina, too. That's how you keeping me on the phone all night.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying here. I will see you all next week. Yes. David, I will see you next month, but I'm sure I'll talk to you before then.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And if any of you want to donate, contribute to Heaven High Podcast, Cash App, $Tangi Ambrose. And I'm going to play my opening again because it makes me happy. And then we are out of here.
I know today, no matter what is happening, things will all all go my way. I see heaven and I don't have to wait for you to recognize that love resides in this place. Why not listen to that? Why you making that face? You be tripping so you think about something different. Listen to why you making just relax a bit. Ain't no accidents. It's just all for the love.
Heaven high, everybody. Welcome. David Carl said, "What's up? What's up?"
Tell him what's up.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bonding with me. I enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, I did as well.
Frolic. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Bye bye.